Just weeks after nurses at two Essentia health facilities voted to form unions, nurses at another clinic are taking steps to unionize. This time it's nurses at Essentia's 3rd Street Clinic and Patient Flow Hospital in Duluth. At a news conference tonight, they announced they plan to vote to join the Minnesota Nurses Association union. The announcement follows similar moves recently by nurses at Essentia's 1st and 2nd Street clinics, Miller Hill Surgery Center, and Solvay Hospice house staff. The nurses argue they want a voice at the table to improve both working conditions, to have fair wages and benefits, and how care is provided to their patients.
The things that these nurses are describing aren't isolated to their workplaces, right? So clearly we've seen nurses in many other facilities across Duluth and across the state step up and decide that they need to bring their voices together.
In a statement today, Essentia leaders say they respect the nurses' rights to consider unionizing, but they're encouraging the nurses to continue working with hospital leadership to create the best work environment.